Hello everyone and welcome to Everyday Prepping. My name is Martin and today we're finally talking about some gadgets, or in this particular case crank radios or emergency radios. This is to boost your hope if a crisis would occur or something big would happen. It's a means of you actually getting information from the state or the government or society. But most of these are only one way, so you can only receive information. So I actually did a kind of some research into something called, I'm sorry, I need to read from my paper here. There is actually something called an EU alert system, which all countries in the European Union have to implement or start implementing. And this is a system based on SMS, which means that you will actually get an SMS if something big would happen and you need to take action for some reason. These SMS in the EU alert system can be targeted, so they can be targeted for specific areas and for people having mobile phones in that particular area. But a weakness of that system is that it can be overloaded. And if you have been in a crisis where something drastic happens very immediately, you probably know that the cellular network is easily overloaded. And here, if we're talking a national information that it's being sent out, it will most surely overload the system, which means that some people get the message just a couple of minutes after it's sent, and other people might not get it until like a couple of hours later. Then we have the language barrier as well. When I visited Japan and I was in Osaka, there was actually quite a big earthquake when we were in the hotel room, and the Japanese are so good at communicating information in a crisis. So I think it only took like a couple of seconds after the first initial wave hit until we got information on our phones and alerts in the hotel and stuff like that. But one thing I noticed was that I was actually using a Japanese SIM card, and that means that I got the information in Japanese. So language can be a barrier. I know they sent out English SMS, but that was for people having SIM cards from other places. So I need to read from my paper here. So when it comes to the EU alert system, it's already implemented in the Netherlands, in Greece, in Lithuania and Romania. And Italia is starting their test. They started their test in October 2020. France started the test in May 2022, so this year. And Germany say that they will be ready in 2023. So in Sweden, we already have an alert system in place. It's called the VMA, or very important information for the society. And it's like an alarm, like a flight alert, a bomb alert. And Swedish people know which dates these test alarms occur. And if we hear it on another day, we need to take action. So we need to go inside, close all the doors, all the windows, and listen to and stop the ventilation, and then listen to the radio for information. But with all this, it doesn't matter. In the long run, it doesn't matter but the system itself doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that we are able to receive some sort of communication from the outside or from the state or government. And that's why we have these in Sweden. This is almost a national symbol for preparedness. So the crank radio in Sweden is an icon for preparedness. So I'm going to talk a little bit about different crank radios and what I believe you should be thinking of before you get one of these, because there is a difference. And I tried a lot of radios, for the blog. Unfortunately, it's in Swedish, but I think you can use Google Translate to translate the contents. I put the link down here. So I think I've tried somewhere around 20 or 25 radios right now. And this, I am not an expert at this, but I have more experience than others when it comes to crank radios. So the first thing I think you should think of is, where do I think I will be when I need this information? And most of the time we are at home or we are at work, and then we know what kind of situation we are in. And the reason why I'm saying this is because in Sweden, I guess you know, we have these shelters or bunkers beneath ground, and we also have high mountain ranges. So if you live in an area high up, or if you live in a big city and might need to go into a bunker, you need to make sure that the radio can actually receive information in these situations. And if we go to the small ones, the cheap ones, they actually don't, they can't receive much, they can't receive well underground. So I think this one has a limit of like 3 meters underground, while this I tried, and these can actually receive a signal from 15 meters under stone ground, which is very good. So that's the first thing you need to take into account. And then also it's the price, of course. This little one, I think it costs somewhere around 30 to 40 euros. And the bigger and better they get, the more expensive they get. So I think this is around 160 euros, as well as this one. So think about the price and think about where you probably will be if you need to have information about what's going on. So let's have a look quickly at some of the features of every radio. So just to tell you, I don't remember, I think this is called MDR88. This is the Sangean MR88. This is the Sangean MR99, which is a new model from the Taiwanese company. And this is Eton Sidekick. And all these have similar features, but one thing, and one thing that actually they have all the same features is that they have a battery, which can be charged through 3 different methods. So one is actually plugging it in and charging it via USB. The other one is by using a crank. And the third one is to charge it with a solar panel. This one also has a compartment for ordinary batteries. So this is quite versatile. It has a rechargeable battery, it has a crank, it has the possibility to charge via sun, and then you can also charge the internal battery with a USB, and you have ordinary batteries you can use. So think about your situation and what you would prefer in a radio like this. Another thing that I think is really, really important is how to enter the settings and what the buttons look like and how you change the frequency and stuff like that. So for this one, you can see it has very clear text. So it's black buttons with white text. And you can, if you turn it on, it also lights up. This one also has clear buttons. The Eton does not have much buttons, and they're put here under the handle, which makes it a bit difficult to read, and it also has small text. And the small text actually is a problem for me because I'm getting old. Please turn off. Because I can't see. Please turn it off. there we go. So when units have small text, people with elderly sight, as me, or people with poor sight can't read what's on it. So these are good examples of well implemented text. Eton it leaves something to be desired. And for this one, it actually has black text on black buttons, which is not ideal. And this little one, it doesn't have any buttons. It has knobs. And that might be good. But I found that this one, it's very hard to find a radio channel because it's a bit it's easy to do too big of movements when adjusting the frequency. So these all have programmable radio settings, so think about that as well. And for the reception, of course, you want radio with a huge antenna like this one, because the bigger antenna, the longer the antenna, the better reception you get. Okay? And then there is actually something that most people don't think about. It's how does it feel to crank this radio? So if you have a look at the manufacturer's websites or other websites, it says if you crank this for 1 minute, you'll get this much time to listen to radio. Okay, that's good. So in my test, I actually cranked it for 10 minutes just to feel how does it feel. And let me tell you, it's not a walk in the park. But for most models, if you crank them for 10 minutes, you can actually listen to radio and use the flashlight for 1 hour, which is quite good. But it's a lot of work. And that brings me, the cranking thing brings me to another thing. Because all of these models have, I'm going to show you the Eton, I think, now, if I'm able to. They also have a USB port for USB-A, which means that you can actually, since there is an internal rechargeable battery here, you can actually connect a USB-A cable and charge your mobile phone or your GoPro camera or something else, which is powered by can be powered by USB. And for a lot of models, they also have maybe an auxiliary contact and a contact for headphones. So you can connect this to another machine, or you can connect it to earphones. You can use earphones, which is good, because sometimes you need to have the sound close to your ears. And since there is a USB-A cable, I know a lot of people think that they can actually crank the amount of power it takes to charge a phone, and let me tell you that wouldn't be possible. You would have to crank for several hours to charge a phone. So please don't believe that you're going to make money in the apocalypse by having a crank radio and cranking and then charging people's phones. But why would they have phones? I don't know. But that's not a good option. If that's the case, I would go for solar power instead, or maybe buying a separate solar power thing. Okay, yes, and this brings me to my last point, which is that all of these have flashlights of different kinds. So this one has a red light, a broader light, and a focused flashlight. And Eton's Sidekick actually has, it actually has a working light as well. So this is ideal if you want to make food, or you need to work with something and you don't have a headlight, a headlamp, and you need to light up a bigger area. This is perfect for that. And some of these also have an alert system which you can activate to make people hear where you are. Like on the Sangean, it's red. I will be reviewing this separately because I only just got it to review. So the MMR99 is not reviewed yet. And also one last thing, make sure that the input charging contact, so for the MMR99 it's a USB-C, which is modern. I think the MMR88 has a USB micro, kind of modern as well. But some of these actually have USB mini, which I would say is not that modern anymore. This is USB micro. So please also check what kind of connection for charging these radios have, because if you are a family that only uses USB-C, that's a really good thing, because you would probably have a lot of cables, and cables tend to break. So you wouldn't want to use an old USB cable where you only have one. I would suggest you actually use a radio with a modern input. And also, please stay away from any radio that has its own charging contact, because if that breaks, you're out of luck. So please go with the ones charged by USB-C or micro, I would prefer. And also, there are other radios as well. So this is actually channel mode. This is actually a combination of a receiving radio and transmitting radio. This is the Baofeng UV5R Plus, which I'm currently reviewing or testing for review, because I wanted to see what these kinds of radios can do and what they can't do. So Baofeng is a Chinese manufacturer. This is a very cheap radio. I think this one costs like 24 euros. But for the ability to both receive information and then use it as a walkie-talkie or well, a transmitting radio, it's really cheap. But these you need to take into account that you need to check in your country if you're allowed to use them, and if not, maybe you need a certificate or some sort of training to use them. So please check that before you start using these. I think this is all. If you have any questions at all about crank radios or emergency radios, please send me an email at info@vardagsprepping.se, or you could also comment on this YouTube episode. So let's just, because I know one question I get a lot is, where can I get these? So the Sangean radios, you can buy, I think you can buy them almost everywhere. But if you're looking for a particular place, the Sangean radios and the Eton radio in Sweden are sold by the General Prepper, and you can go to generalprepper.com. They do ship abroad, so please check if they can send to your country. I have a lot of I actually got these radios from the General Prepper, so we have a sort of a partnership. This one, and I don't remember the name because it's just a lot of numbers and letters, but I have written it here. This one you can buy from Mylar.se. They also ship abroad. It's a Swedish company. This is, I think you can get this from Amazon, or you can get it from General Prepper as well. And the Baofeng you can buy directly from Baofeng. And as I said, these go from 20, 30, 40 euros up to 160, 170 euros. And yes, I'm sorry, I forgot about one thing. One thing you need to check as well is the battery capacity. So this small one has a capacity of, I think, 1000 milliampere hours. This is actually 1400. This is 2600. No, I will write the right one for this. So, and the Sangean has 800 milliamps. But the thing about the batteries here is that this is so well constructed that this small battery actually lasts almost forever. The only thing with batteries and the capacities is you need to take into account if you're looking to charge a phone. Then you would, if you're looking to charge 1 or 2 phones, please go with the big ones. This is 2600. I think this is also 2600 milliamps. And the last thing, I've said this so many times, the last thing, one more thing. But I'm not following a script, so I remember things as I talk. I really advise you to check if it's possible to change the battery yourself. Because if you can do that, you can also remove the battery and see what type of battery it is. And when you know that, you can buy more batteries. If this one stops working, or or maybe you want a couple of batteries charged and then replace them, that's a really good thing, being able to replace them yourselves. Now I'm finished. Thank you for watching. Thank you for finding this channel. And if you like the contents and you want us to do more in English, please subscribe, and maybe in the comments say, hello, I'm from this country, or something like that. Take care, prep on, and stay safe. Bye bye.